Everybody, Grid21 back with another video, and I need to turn this down actually a little bit. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing what I'm going to call a technical breakdown of my stream that I stream on Twitch, obviously. And this isn't a tutorial video. This is not you can stream like me. This is basically just me explaining from a technical standpoint how my stream actually works and operates. And I thought it'd be kind of fun to talk about some of the things I've learned about OBS, some of the very powerful tools that make doing what I do completely possible, and how things like the Stream Deck play such a crucial role in what I do. At the moment, my border is obviously not here. I actually had to open up a second instance of OBS Studio just for recording, and so some of my my face cam for my normal scene selection is going to be like really off. It's just going to be missing my face cam because it's being used by a second instance of OBS. So without hopefully any further ado, let's go ahead and try to jump into this. So I'm going to head and start right off and drag my I think I'm going to drag my OBS into view here. Hopefully, I know, okay, I might have to readjust the webcam really quick. Give me a second to work on this. So the main focus here is obviously my OBS Studio and everything, and we're gonna go ahead and kind of sort of start a little bit from from this downward. We're gonna cover a couple different scenes that are named similar things. We're also going to cover what all of this is about here, because this is actually pretty cool. So to start off with, there are two welcome screen scenes here, and inside them are sourced of the welcome screen assets and face cam. And this immediately brings us down to what these dashed scenes are about here. And these are what are called nested scenes. And they are basically scenes that have all of my assets that I can actually touch and edit these nested scenes and not actually affect how the actual scenes that I use look on stream. And so, for example, if I wanted to say, let's go ahead and make this live. So this is preview program. Let's go ahead and now look at the asset that is this. So this is composited of a couple different things here. One of them is the all games scene, and we're going to head and include the Stream Deck in with this too. So on my Stream Deck, I have something called all games, and because of the way that nested scenes are structured, I can basically change anything. I can change the all games nested with the all games nested here. And if I understand this correctly, if I got this correctly, am I hitting the right source? Yes. So you'll notice that the little eyeball here is being switched basically off and on when I hit my Stream Deck. And what that means is that when we're in our live scene where my webcam would normally be, which is being actually taken up by a different this is very confusing for me, by the way. I'm trying to keep track of what's going on here. So excuse me if I feel like I'm stuttering a little bit. I'm doing my best here. So normally my face camera, which is this here, would actually be in, I'm going to try to point, it would be either here and over there. It's flipped for me. It's kind of funny. It's a mirrored thing. So basically allows me through my Stream Deck to turn, because of the reference, the way this works is that this is referencing that its scene is welcome scene assets, and it's sourcing and controlling the source of all games nested. Now all games nested then goes to basically whatever the games are here, which would be League of Legends, which is a nested scene. We'll talk about that a little bit in a sec, because I have some things planned in the future using nested scenes. I'm not going to talk about them because they're going to be a surprise for my stream. So you will have to come to my stream to see exactly what I did with it. But you can actually, so all the games that I have here are, so there's all games nested. So these are whatever games I stream, what happens to be Rocket League, happens to be League of Legends, even my Elgato input is actually also a nested scene, and that also means that because it is, I can actually control that source. I'm gonna actually go ahead and make this a little smaller. I can actually control the Elgato capture and actually enable that nested scene here. So let's go ahead and do a fade to kind of give an example. So my webcam would obviously be here, but it's not. So now what we've got is we've got the all games here, and we have the welcome screen nested. And because of the way the things are nested inside here, because the Elgato capture is nested, so it's controlling Elgato input nested with the source of Elgato input itself. So that goes into here and it controls that. But because Elgato input is a nested scene, it allows me to basically turn that particular source on and off very easily inside of this, but it's referencing the Elgato input here. And that goes for a lot of things that are in my stream. So I can actually turn this off and say, hey, look, we'll display capture for when I do Forza Horizon. Or I can actually do my League of Legends scene, which has map cover. Now, League recently got its own nested scene, which is composited of the map cover, which is actually controllable as well through the Stream Deck because it referenced League assets, which is a nested scene, and it controls a source of map cover too, which actually should not get, it doesn't need to be called that, it just is. And the next phase of that would be then League assets goes into all games nested, which means then when I'm here, if I were to go back on my Stream Deck, I can actually then hit the control. As you see, I'm turning off all the League assets as I'm switching scenes, and normally, and the reason why you would use nested scenes is that prior to this change on my stream, I would actually have to, and a few of you might remember, who have been on my channel long enough, would remember that I would actually have to do like a fade to one scene, update the asset, and then fade back. This basically lets me update that scene without having to do a fade to and from a scene. So for example, if I wanted to be like, oh darn, I have to fade in League of Legends, rip, and then I have to go back, I have to turn on, I have to fade it back. Well, with the way that this works, I don't have to do that. Which makes, from a technical standpoint and a switcher standpoint, much easier. And it gives the Elgato more control, the Elgato Stream Deck more powerful control over what scenes are currently visible. And I like the map cover I have still, because if I'm playing like ARAM, like the map obviously is not Summoner's Rift map cover, so it's completely irrelevant. But I have it anyway as an ability to turn off and on as I want to. As you can see here, this gets switched off and on pretty easily. Similar things go for my controller. So say if I'm playing Rocket League and I don't need League, but I do need my controller. The Rocket League and the controller are going to get their own nested scenes as well. And that's just going to be one big, that's going to get, so it'll basically be dash space RL, with the assets of the controller. Is controller actually in Xbox? Controller is actually in all games nested. So, but in theory, it won't need to do that, and it allows for some very production ready, very cool little things that I have in my head that I've been thinking about very carefully. And you know, it doesn't sound like it sounds really complicated, and it kind of is, but it's also really, really efficient and makes what I do a lot easier, because you know, it's the really small things that make stuff like this so powerful. And this simple change of creating the ability to control nested scenes becomes a very powerful tool to, you know, you're spending more time streaming and less time thinking about the very, you know, in-depth stuff that you're doing, you know, that you're working on for your stream and things like that, because it's less switching, it's less things to think about. Some other technical breakdown things are I recently got the bigger Stream Deck, so I have the 15 and 32 key one. I want to talk about a little bit of how this kind of works, these two in particular. I really like the idea of the fact that, like, whatever the Stream Deck can do for me that I don't have to do to think about, a lot of it's just programming in the Stream Deck. So this is a multi-action. And in the multi-action here, basically this will mute my microphone, switch to my studio cam, wait 2 seconds, then switch to my Be Right Back screen, wait another 10 seconds, and then play an ad on Twitch. And the fun part of it is that it kind of adds like it switches itself. It kind of adds like this fun, like, little technical thing that, like, ooh, it switched by itself. How very cool. It must be magic. But it's really not. It's just part of a normal part of Stream Deck that allows it to really just have kind of some nice little auto features, quality of life things. So for example, so when I come back from, like, my break, this one would actually unmute both my VoIP and my mic, just in case I happen to mute it, and then waits 2 seconds, goes to studio cam, waits 2 seconds, goes to welcome screen. Unfortunately, actually, I think I'm doing this kind of wrong, but that's okay. Now my studio cam's actually blocked out right now. I have the cover down on it. But during, so let's go ahead and kind of give an example. Actually, I should probably kind of give the full experience of this here. Let me go ahead and, so that's visualizer acting weird. That's fun. I actually didn't plan to do that. From a technical perspective, this is kind of what's going on. Can you, like, not look like a hot mess right now? Because that's really not helpful to me. I think I was listening to Approach Nirvana. Okay, there we go. You might have heard a little bit of music. I'm sorry about that. I just had to fix this technical glitch. It was going to be annoying. So, like, for example, it says, like, Grid21 will be right back. Hey, look, it's myself twice. Hi. It says Grid21 will be right back, everything like that. And then I basically hit this multi-action, and it basically does the programming from there. And then, it would go to my face cam if my face cam were actually working properly. It's just, again, two instances of OBS is confusing. But that's essentially what happens. So that's kind of some other little things that I've, been playing with Stream Deck. Another one is replay buffer, which I've actually covered in a tutorial video, which you guys can probably check out in the little card thingy. If I remember, if I remember, actually be on this side. If I remember to put in the video, I'm not very good with YouTube card things, and I need to remember to do that. So if you want to learn more OBS things, go check that video out. But I have some really simple things, such as, like, my go live, my start recording. These are profile switches here. Now you can't see it. Maybe you can. Does it do it? It does do it. All right, so I am actually hitting a profile. I'm hitting the profile. So this is my general use. And then this is for when I'm streaming. And then there's one for when I'm doing the morning metro. And you can actually see what I'm doing. Kind of in the background there. Maybe that was a good idea. So these are, like, little things that do this. Now, to go back a bit here in the multi-action, I actually had it that it tells when I hit the start video audio thing. It's labeled as start video audio muted. So we'll actually mute both my VoIP and mic, and then go to the start screen, which is my intro video, and then before that, we'll then switch the Stream Deck, the second smaller Stream Deck, into its, I'm going to call it production mode. And so it will just auto switch for myself. And then the other one is that, like, after welcome, unmute audio, it, like, unmutes the things, goes to my welcome screen. That's really straightforward and, to the point. And obviously there's my, intro video, and you probably won't hear that because it's not you won't hear that, but on stream you'll hear that definitely for sure. What else is in here that's really kind of cool? Going back to the nested stuff, so you'll notice that this says welcome screen assets. Well, this is welcome screen itself, and I can turn off any source that I like. So let's go ahead and just transition. And then let's go ahead and say, like, I can turn off, maybe I can turn on off the fireplace. I can use featured, I can have featured chat on and off, which I don't use that often. I can have the bit jar, all games nested, which again, actually is controlled by the Stream Deck. So that is something that's controllable. I can also turn off kitty greeter and the name for our cat that everybody named as Snowball. Panel video, that's actually a rotating, that is a MOV transparent video made in Vegas Pro. And then of course my NDI source, which is when I have my laptop sending a video feed over my network to OBS on my gaming streaming computer to send out to Twitch and everything. So that's a really powerful one as well. And generally, I really don't need to have the NDI laptop as a controllable button on my Stream Deck, but it's like a nice to have, so I can just turn it on and there's the audio for it, and when I switch it off, the audio for it goes away. And I think Studio Cam is its own. Oh yeah, and also too, the cool thing is that the reason why things like Face Cams and Studio Cam Gray, Studio Cam assets, like the reason why the cameras have their own nested scenes is because for sourcing reasons, and I don't remember how to explain this, and my friend T-Wave explained it better. It's how OBS looks at the camera, that it sees the camera as a scene, it sees it as a source, but it's a scene as well. And it's helpful to have it that way because, for example, this is the camera fully zoomed out. This is the entire studio. Home studio. It's not a studio, it's a home studio, whatever. Who's keeping track? But the studio cam is actually cropped, and it's cropped in such a way where I didn't actually physically zoom the camera through its control. Because if you guys might recognize this, when you go to do your, this is not zoomed. This is zoomed all the way out. And that means that you're getting full frame, the full wide angle, which allows for way more flexibility when I do my studio cam here, because I can crop it differently. Or if I go to my Be Right Back, I can crop it differently. And so for the sake of how that works, there are two different cropped scenes, but because they're zoomed out already in their own scene and source, the flexibility becomes much broader. It allows me to do a little bit more with it. Same would go for the face cam. So the face cam, it has its own thing if it were not controlled by this camera or by this. So we have, like, the Zoom Derp Cam, 1 and 2, and it's referencing, this source is referencing this nested scene that is zoomed out, but it's zoomed in because I've actually physically pulled, well, not physically pulled, but I pulled the camera inward, making it look like it's zoomed in, but it's really not. It's more like it's like a zoom crop type of thing. It's a little confusing, and even try to explain it is confusing. Once you actually put it into practice, it makes a ton more sense. Make sure I didn't do anything okay, I need to lock that. There we go. So what I thought happened. And I believe that's it. Oh, I just realized that this doesn't have its own, this doesn't have its own button. Probably because I don't use that often, but it doesn't have its own button. That's good to know. I'll have to fix this one. Fascinating. What else? I know I'm saying too much. I'm so sorry. You subconsciously do when you're making videos. So anyway, that's kind of the technical breakdown, a little bit of my stream and how it works. If you guys have any questions, you should definitely leave them in the comments below and stuff. I don't think there's anything else in particular that needs to be that needs explaining. Other than, just like these are, you can do custom transitions where they're hard cut, nested scenes. Oh, also too, the reason why they're listed as all games nested and all games fade is because I've actually specifically set up fades. Like one is a fade and then one is a custom transition that I actually made myself. that's really useful because sometimes I don't always want to use my transition because it's kind of physically jarring sometimes. And so to have a subtle fade, you should always try to have more than one variation of your scenes, I think, because from a production level standpoint, it just looks so much better. A lot of streamers now are using transitions more than they used to, and they're using custom transitions more than they used to. And I think that it becomes visually boring when you use just one transition and that's your key go-to, and you don't have a variation of that, particular scene switching. So for me, I've decided to go for, I have a fade and then I have my normal, I think it's called a logo wipe actually. Yeah, logo wipe transition. I had something about that and I kind of forgot a little bit. Oh, the only time I ever use the logo wipe transition is actually at the beginning of my stream and at the end of my stream. It's kind of a way to signify visually and subconsciously to the viewer that like, hey, we're winding down. We're going to kind of like, do this, So I usually use fades most of the time. The only instances I've done like my big like digital glitch transition is when I'm going to my games. And it's just because, I prefer to I'm going to go ahead and just use this transition, use it, or I'm going to just use this subtlety fade. And we're just going to go from one to the other. Like in here, for example, this is actually another one. This is a multi-action switch, which is kind of fun. And this basically just has the fade version in here. So it's like kind of a 2 for price of 1 sort of a thing. But then I also have the buttons individually too, should I want to, there's some things about that kind of like, how multi-action switch works is a little weird, and I don't quite like the way it works, and it's kind of difficult to explain a little bit. It doesn't always tell me what scene I'm in, and sometimes if I'm in a scene and it's in a different scene and you go to hit it, it like conflicts. It's kind of weird. So anyway, that's it, I think, for the most part, other than Raiders Welcome video. That's its own thing. That plays the video, mutes my VoIP, does a delay that is actually timed in sync with the raid video itself, and it's counted in milliseconds before it auto switches back to my welcome screen. I don't even use raid videos that much, honestly. That's something that's, whether you use a raid video is completely up to you. That's fine. You don't have to. It's just something that's kind of extra, a little bit icy on the cake, as it were. The biggest thing at the end is literally the end video. That should actually say end stream. I should rename that icon. So what happens here, this is the big moment, really, kind of. There's only like 2 really big moments. There's the start here where it switches everything and it's really super simple. And then there's the end where it mutes mic, VoIP. It goes to the end credits video. It is supposed to clear my bit jar. I haven't seen it do it for some reason. It is supposed to... It plays credits, which does work. It's supposed to empty my bit jar, which it never works. I don't know why. Then originally I had a outro song that would play. I have not used that outro song in quite some time, so it's just it plays, but it's technically muted. And then it does a series of chat commands. So my myself that's logged into my chat will basically pull up my social, and then 1 second later pulls up my raid call. 1 second later pulls up my grid shards, so you get free grid shards when at the end of the stream. That's just why you should always stay for a raid. And then stop stream, so it stops my stream, stops the music. Then it goes back. It goes back to fade to black, which is the start of the stream. Unmutes all my audio, sends out an auto tweet, and then switches my 15 key stream deck from stream mode to just general use mode. And that is how the end of my stream operates, and that is all automated. So I literally just have to just sit and write when it says, follow at _grid21 is when I pull up the little /raid in the username, and I hit enter, and I usually like nail it on time almost every time, honestly. So that's the big, that's the big, as they say, pomp and circumstance, I suppose. I don't know if that's the right word, but that's kind of like, where all the big magic happens and stuff. So I believe that's it. I think that's everything. I don't know. I might be missing something. I probably am. I was kind of just wanted to freestyle this a little bit and just talk about it, as a, is kind of like a technical video, not in a I'm going to teach you how to do this kind of a thing. So anyway, I hope this video was interesting. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, I would appreciate it if you would, you know, hit the little like button, subscribe. Totally optional. If you want to see more things regarding my stream, you should check out my YouTube channel where there's even more like tutorials, and I've done Vegas Pro tutorials, and I've done I used to do the Morning Metro on this channel, which actually it went over to its own channel, and whatever else happens to pique your fancy. And if you want to actually talk to me and learn more about streaming and have a great conversation, you should head over to my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/Kurt21. I stream Tuesday through Saturday, starting at 4 p.m., sometimes 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we kind of go sort of late a little bit. We might go a little bit beyond 10. And hopefully you'll find this video interesting and you'll want to learn more about it, because I really love sharing what I've learned. There's no reason for me to keep it. I might as well share it with everybody, right? So I thank you guys so much. Have an awesome rest of your week, and I'll see you all soon, if not on my stream. Take care.